Hello?
Hey, what's good, bro?
Yo, 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 what up?
How you doing?
Good, good, good. How are you, yo?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm not gonna be recording video, but I'm gonna be recording the audio for the transcription.
Oh, okay, okay. So only audio, no video?
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna ask which way I should hold the camera, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's up to you, bro.
Only
For
audio.
sure. Hell yeah. Yeah, thanks for doing this, man. I figured it'd be this cool idea to do some write-ups on people. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. Podcasts and kind of like talk show content. I've
Yep.
always been a fan of it, and it seems like it's in a good place right now in the media and in music and film and all that. So
Definitely. Yeah, I was just on a little podcast thing with Jake the other day. I don't know if you've seen that.
yeah, I think I've seen it pop up. I've been keeping Matt busy and stuff lately, but yeah, I've seen that. That's dope that people in all sorts of different places are doing that.
For sure. You said you had a video shoot or some sort of shoot today?
Yeah, later tonight downtown LA, man, right off San Pedro, yo.
Hell yeah. Who are you doing that for?
Oh, it's this chick that it's crazy because there's this dude Benji who I know who he like manages a bunch of models and he has a bunch of really dope like listings and for people to like what I mean is like luxury house listings for like people to rent out for like music videos and stuff like that. And he was how I got connected with her, but her name is Coco. She's got this really, really dope like art studio that she works at that's downtown LA, like I was mentioning.
Yep.
And she's basically kind of doing similar to what you're doing here, where she's just like kind of interviewing and sort of having a conversation with recording artists and like actual like painting artists and just like different like dope like creative people and stuff. So I'm just helping to facilitate the vibe and film them do that.
Right on, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never really done anything like this before. But I mean, as soon as I posted that, a lot of people seem to be interested. So.
Yeah. We gotta come together as creatives and work together for the collective good of putting good shit out into the universe. Or my bad, am I not supposed to curse?
Oh, I don't care, bro. It's going on my website. I can put whatever I want on there.
Some people are like really particular about that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, whatever you want to say, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I agree with that though, because I mean, at a certain point, I just kind of get sick of like trying to sell my shit to everybody, And so yeah, I just wanted to do something, not only something that would like drive. I mean, it helps me too to drive traffic to the website, obviously, but just put some shine on people,
Yeah, nah, definitely for sure. Yeah. You never wanna. It's good to kind of vary stuff and not do the same thing over and over.
Yeah. And I've had this website for a minute too, and I just like, it's one thing like posting your opinions on Facebook, but when you got a website, you can like write whatever you want and just put that all there, and if people read it, it's because they choose to,
Yeah, definitely. Even taking it back to like, I don't know, like New York in like the 80s or something before kind of like video and social media like was what it is today. Blogs were like doing write-ups like on musicians and you know what I'm saying, different rappers and different creatives and people like that. So I think that text is kind of like I feel like a lot of the origins of like with the entertainment industry and like blogs doing write-ups on people and stuff like that is kind of sort of in a way like the root of where it is, whereas now like video is like the primary form of traffic for what people are consuming and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. So I had a few questions that I had written down. So me and you, we met through Jake. Where did you guys meet? Or how did you meet?
So me and Jake actually met through his cousin, Dali Capo. It's kind of crazy because sometimes I like to think about like the origin of like how I met people. And it was crazy because, to take it way, way, way back, there was this kid, Ty, in Great Falls, Montana, who I had found on Instagram. And he's this kid who, he's like a really talented like dancer. He dances, and I'm not sure what like the technical term of it, if it's referred to as like breakdancing or whatever, but I had found him on Instagram, and at the time I was like really heavy on like my video stuff. I was just trying to like network and like find like people I could work with or people I could film, doing their thing, musicians and people like that. And he was the one who told me about Dali Capo, who that's like a whole nother situation or whatever, but Capo and I had became friends basically, and then he was the one who told me about his cousin Jake. It was real funny because Jake and I had got in contact, and when we first started talking, gosh, what was it, like 2007 or probably 18, probably 2018, I think, was when Jake and I started talking. We had like communicated online or whatever for like, an extended period of time, like at least months or maybe a year. I'm not sure exactly how long, but we had been in contact, and, we had found out that he was in Helena and I was in Great Falls. But then I had hit him up because I was actually on my way back from, it was either a Kasky concert or a Chris Webby concert. I can't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was in 2018, but I had hit him up and told him that I was stopping through Helena and that we could just link up and just like chat or whatever. So I literally like made a point to stop in Helena, just like pulled over at some gas station off the highway, and then we ended up like linking up and talking for like, I don't know, maybe half an hour or an hour or something like that. And that was our first time linking up in person, and we had like discussed, our interests and what we were doing as far as like video and music and everything like that. But yeah, his cousin was ultimately how I had found out about Dilg.
Yeah, that's funny because he actually was interested in getting a write-up too.
Oh, who, Jake or?
Dali Capo. I've never
Dali
actually
Capo.
met him.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, that's my bro. Shout out Dali Capo one time, man.
I've linked up
link some of our music videos in the description or whatever.
I've checked him out for sure. I could do that.
Sick.
Yeah, I've never met him though. He seems pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good homie, man.
So you grew up in Florida, right?
Yep.
You were born in New York, but then you moved to Florida pretty soon after?
Right, correct, yep, yeah.
So describe growing up in Florida.
Oh, yeah, man, Florida was crazy. I guess the first thing I could point out is the humidity. It's really humid. If, like, I don't know, you can, like, if you get up, like, relatively, like, early in the morning at, like, 7 a.m. or whatever, it's not so bad. But then by the time, like, 10, 11, 12 hits, it just gets really humid. Like, you could be fresh out the shower or whatever, starting your day, and then you walk outside, and within minutes, you feel the sweat coming on and stuff. So it was kind of crazy, for me as an individual, and we can maybe get to this later or whatever. I'll stick on the subject, but like going from a hot ass place like Florida to moving to a cold ass place like Montana was definitely a culture shock, was commonly how it was referred to as. But yeah, Florida was dope, man. I moved to Florida in 1995. Yeah, I think it was like 1995. So. Okay. Yeah, it was quite a place to grow up, man. There was a lot of history. One really dope fact that not a lot of people know about is that Jim Morrison from The Doors was actually born in Florida.
Oh, wow.
The spot specifically of where he was born at is right on US 1, which is like a really like prominent like main highway that like lots and lots and lots of people, commute and drive on a regular basis every day. So that's kind of one cool thing about Florida. And then I've always loved the beach, man. I mean, I got a tattoo of the beach just because of how much I love it. So, being around there was cool. But yeah, I was there for like 17 years from like 1995 to like 2013. So all through elementary school, middle school, and high school was being there. So yeah, that's just some information. I could go on and on though.
So that was probably around the time you started getting into music then, right?
Yeah, yep. I was always kind of around music a lot because my father was a musician. He did primarily like bluegrass and folk music, but yeah, he did vocals, played guitar, mandolin, myriad of other instruments. And then through middle school, elementary school, middle school, and high school, I was in orchestra, so I played the violin. Mm-hmm. But then when I was 16, was when I had like first gotten my guitars and like kind of got introduced to like classic rock, like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and, you know, bands like that. And that's really when I started to like really like kind of fall in love with music. Some of my first albums that I bought were Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, and System of a Down, Toxicity, and Steal This Album and stuff like that. So it was kind of a combination of like being being in orchestra, but then also like, you know, kind of like sort of taking it in my own hands, so to speak, and, you know, just really starting to fall in love with music and like hearing it and, you know, getting that feeling and being able to like learn lessons and stuff like that was just really dope. I just really enjoyed it a lot.
So were you into hip hop that much back then?
So it was probably around like 2002 when I was in middle school was when I really started to get into hip hop music. I can even remember like around like the time that I was like in like 6th grade in like elementary school, like around the year 2000, I literally remember like being at home watching Eminem's The Real Slim Shady like on MTV, like not going to YouTube and watching it after the fact and stuff like that. Right. But I didn't really like, when I was growing up and stuff, I was fortunate because I had like a good upbringing as far as like, you know, not really like, no shade to like anybody who was brought up like that, but I wasn't, we weren't necessarily like poor, you know what I mean? So I couldn't, the stuff that like Eminem and like other like, you know, people who were like brought up maybe not having that much money or like grew up in the hood, like I couldn't really like relate to that much just because I wasn't like really brought up like that or whatever. But yeah, it was like late elementary school, like early middle school, around like the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002. Like I remember having LimeWire, and one day I came home and I had heard someone talking about the Holiday Inn with fucking Chingy and gosh, who was it? Snoop Dogg and Ludacris, I'm pretty sure. And like I went home and I like figured out how to download LimeWire and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy, man, because my mom used to actually like not allow me to watch MTV. So like when really? I would like when I would like go like hang out at my friend's house, I'd be like, yo, let's watch MTV. My mom won't let me and stuff like that. And it's just funny that like my mom wouldn't let me do that, and now here I am like literally wanting to make my whole life and career out of it based off something. But one really dope thing too is that like the guy who my mom was with at the time wouldn't let us watch 8 Mile, and then one time me and my mom had like snuck to like go rent it while he was at work or whatever, and we like went home and watched it without like him knowing. She's like, you better not tell him, and all this stuff, and I was just happy that I was like being like exposed to that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was kind of when, because then like at that time when I was in like middle school, like at Johnson Middle School, that was the name of the middle school that I went to in Florida and stuff. That's when like kids were like, man, starting to like smoke cigarettes and weed and skip class, and like, you know, all the corruption kind of starts to begin, so to speak, and stuff. So yeah, like middle school, high school was really when I started to get into like hip hop music and stuff like that. And it was always just around, you know, like I was active as far as like going out and like going to like, you know, parties and you know, social functions and things like that. So yeah, around the early 2000s was when I started to get into hip hop.
So what does your mom think now? But I mean, obviously she's probably pretty cool with it now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, we can still, since I'm like, you know, obviously grown and stuff now, like we can sit back and joke and laugh about it. But I think part of it is that, like, you know, her and I both sort of realize that, like, you know, her as an individual and parents, you know, generally just want what's best for their kid. Mm-hmm. So as, like, you know, an 11-year-old or whatever, or something along those lines, like, parents don't want them listening to new, like, fuck this bitch and, like, smoke this weed and shit like that, like, being an adolescent. So I think that that's kind of the, you know, sort of regimen and MO that, you know, my mom was thinking at the time, not being exposed to it. But I don't know, like, society is, like, always ever, like, evolving and, you know, changing and things like that. Like, something that was quote unquote socially acceptable or unacceptable 15 years ago might be the opposite now, where like, oh yeah, that's cool if, you know, this happens or that happens, or this parent is okay with their kid doing this or that. So yeah, it's cool now.
Right. Yep. So you moved to LA in 2019?
Yep. Yeah, the end of 2019. Yep.
How would you say moving to LA's changed the way you create music and just art in general?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I think that one kind of big thing is that the temperature actually, like, that term that a lot of people refer to as, like, the winter blues, like, yo, like, I really believe that shit is real, because I think part of it had to do with, like, just the amount of time, like the 17 years that I had in Florida and stuff like that. But I don't know, like, my overall mood just, like, increases a lot when it's just warm and hot outside. Because, like, in Montana, like, you know, I'll have to explain to people sometimes, for, like, somebody who maybe, like, you know, only grew up in, like, a hot environment where the coldest it gets is 60 degrees or whatever, something like that. Like, yo, like, you got to start your car half an hour early, and you gotta walk and drive around slower. And for me, like, I like productivity, and I like to be able to get shit done. Like, if I have, like, a task or whatever, like something that I'm trying to, like, get done with my day or whatever, like, I don't like having to spend, like, a lot of time with doing that. Whereas, like, in places like Montana, it's much more slow paced, and out here it's definitely a lot quicker. I mean, it's like a normal thing to have, like, a 1-minute phone conversation, or not even a minute, with somebody and stuff like that. So I definitely say that, like, the temperature fluctuation, like, definitely helped me, just as far as, like, an overall increase in my mood. And then I don't know, like, I don't really, like, with creating music and creating videos and stuff like that, I think it just, like, I don't know, I just really think that, like, I feel like I can just do more. I don't really know how to answer the question.
Right.
Yeah, man.
I mean, because I gotta imagine just, you know, the amount of opportunities and just the general vibe of being out somewhere where that's kind of more of a possibility, you know? I mean, because you said you grew up in Florida, and that's a lot different than, like, it is around here. So, like, from my perspective, moving to a place like LA or something, I feel like that would have a pretty big impact. Just being surrounded by that many people that are, you know, I mean, just the whole cliche of people moving to Hollywood to chase their dreams, you know, but there is, like, cliches do exist for a reason.
Yeah, I guess now that you're saying that, I guess one of the other things I could say is, like, just being around, because, like, one of the things that I kind of thought about, you know, prior to moving to LA, was, I was like, all right, I was like, I'm about to be around a whole lot of, like, really lit, successful people, and it's like, all I gotta do is, one, be cool with them, and two, like, realize and see what we can do together. One of the things that I've always said, kind of along the lines of like just like being cool around people and stuff like that, is you never know who's Puff Daddy's cousin. Because like, yo, to be honest, there's a lot of shit talkers in LA. Whereas like, say you're at a show, right, and like, oh, you meet a couple people or whatever, and you're complaining and you're talking shit about this or that, like, you don't know if that person is friends or cousins or whoever with your favorite recording artist, for all you know. And it's like, yo, you complaining and like talking shit or saying something along those lines might have forever, you know, disabled you from having a relationship with that person. Whereas like, if you just play it cool, man, and keep your mouth shut and only speak if it's something dope or cool or positive or lit to say, then like they might be like, oh, this person's cool, like, yeah, I can hang with them, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think just like being around and like realizing that like the opportunities are really endless. I mean, within 2 weeks of me moving to LA, one of the first big link ups that I had was with the fucking game. Like I had literally, this is a really good story actually. There was one Friday where I was trying to get rid of just like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I had, and I had the urge to listen to that My Life song with the Game and Lil Wayne from back in the day. What was it, 2008 or some shit like that? And then on YouTube, it was like, oh, the game has an upcoming show in a couple of days or whatever. So I sent a DM to the game on Instagram, 12 million followers, right? Fast forward to midnight the next night, like 36 or so hours later, and I get a reply back. It's a really long story, but basically I ended up like just driving out to the show was in Irvine, California, and like basically I had only been out in LA for like 2 weeks, yo. And then being able to like link up with somebody like that, like I was 5 feet away from Snoop Dogg that night. I got to meet Adam 22, Whack 100, Blueface's manager, and just like all these different people. When I went home and the night was over after that, I was like, all right, anything is possible. Anything is possible. The possibilities are endless. Like all you got to do is make cool with the people you got to do and be able to like do dope shit with them, and it, you know, the possibilities are endless out here.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things I thought, because I'd never been to California before, and I thought that was like, you know, because just growing up seeing like all this stuff on TV and, you know, following people on the internet and stuff, but then you go there and you're just like, oh, this is just a place and these people are just people, you know, and
yeah,
like I didn't even really see anybody, but just that idea that it's like, you know, it's just a real place. It's not really that crazy.
Yep, exactly.
So moving on with the questions. So you mentioned in another interview that you had to sacrifice time for making music in order to pursue filmmaking. So how do you balance those these days?
Yeah, so I'd probably say if I had to put like a percentage to it, I'd probably say it's like maybe like 70-30, 60-40, more leaning toward music, just because like, you know, for the past like 5 or 6 years, I had focused a lot on filmmaking just because I've always loved filmmaking, and I've always been like a really like visual person. Like being able to put dope images out into the world and tell a story with it is something that I hold really close to my heart. But then with music, you know, it's kind of my roots and like where I really like when I first became passionate about something at a young age, it was about music. And so like I just kind of I don't know. I just kind of do what I feel. You know what I mean? I mean, my birthday's in July, and I'm a Cancer zodiac, so I'm like a real like emotional person. So like going off of like gut feelings and stuff like that is something that I do on a very regular basis and stuff. And so filmmaking's dope, and I'm always gonna have filmmaking, and the tools that I learned over the past like 5-6 years while I was primarily focusing on it were good. But playing guitar and doing music is just something that, man, it just gives me a really, 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 really indescribable, just great feeling. I out of everything on this planet, everything on Earth, being able to hold my guitar and like be it performing live or coming up with a new song, that gives me literally the greatest feeling on Earth. So I guess to answer your question, I just kind of do what I feel and do whatever feels right. But music and, performing live, writing new music, and doing stuff like that is primarily where my focus is at. I just find the time. And I'm not working a day job anymore. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So that's also how I find time, since I'm not spending 40 hours a week doing that. I can just do what I want now.
Right. What happened with that?
Oh, man. Yo, to be totally honest, I literally just got sick to my stomach, man. I've been working a day job for a long time, since I was a teenager in Florida when I had my first day job and stuff like that. And I just, literally every day that I would go in, it was literally a nauseated feeling to my stomach. Not like every day, but like, you guys get what I'm saying. Yep. And to be totally honest, I had a terrible nightmare this summer where I was 50 fucking years old, man, still working at the bank, talking Spanish to some random customer, and I woke up in the middle of the night gasping for air, and I was like, yep, nope, not fucking doing it. And I don't know, man. There's something that's really exciting about just doing the leap. And I feel like I'm the type of individual, from the amount of like film set experience that I've had and just life experiences in general and stuff like that, where part of me likes to just fucking figure it out, man, and go do shit. Like sometimes there's just so much consultation, and where people will like, oh, well, what about this, and what about this, and what about this? And sometimes in my head, I'm just like, shut the fuck up and just fucking do it. Like, some of the time there's just so much talk, and it's just kind of like, there's actions, there's doers, and there's talkers. And I much rather consider myself a doer rather than a talker. So
I love that. Yup. I mean, I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah.
That's super sick. I'm actually thinking about moving to Colorado next year.
Oh, word.
So yeah, because I'm, living in Montana is great, but there's a lot of reasons why it sucks. I mean, the weather thing too, like, yeah, that is not fun. Like, it's not even the temperature thing so much, but yeah, just the vibe and like just the dreariness of it, like it really does get to you.
What city are you in? Right
now?
Yeah.
Kalispell.
Oh, okay. So that's where you live?
Yeah.
Okay, word. Yo, shout out to Kalispell one time. I went skydiving there back in...
Oh, really?
What was it? My birthday in 2018. I think it was more like northern Kalispell or like Whitefish sort of area, but yeah, Kalispell's dope. I've driven through there a couple times.
I've always wanted to go skydiving. That shit's crazy.
Dude, so much fun. And the plane, shout out to Skydive Whitefish. If you want to go skydiving in Montana, hit them up. The plane that they have is the same plane that Johnny Depp used in the movie Blow.
What?
Yeah, swear to God. And it was insane because when we went skydiving that summer, I had taken a couple photos while I was on the ground, and then when I went home, after I found out that it was the same plane that they used in the movie, I did a mashup where I put the image from the movie and the photos that I took, and it was at the same angle. So the three photos that I took, were at the same. I was like, yo, that's some crazy shit. Like, how does that happen? Yeah.
That's sick.
I didn't mean to cut you off about Colorado, though.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, because you're talking about making the leap, you know, and I've just been really wanting to get out of this state and try something different, you know. And I have a cousin who lives down there, and he offered me to live at his place rent free while I save up and go wherever after that, you know. And
Denver, or where's your cousin at?
yeah, well, he's in Colorado Springs, but I think he might be relocating to Denver in the next year.
Word.
But yeah, and like, so I told him right away, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Like, I need this, you know. And after that, I was having all these second thoughts, but just the more time goes by, I'm like, I think I need to just, you know, like you said, just make the jump and try something different.
Yeah, nah, definitely. It's kind of a hard thing, man, because one of the things that I kind of thought about, because they're like, you know, kind of touching back on like my past and stuff like that, and like when I was going to high school, like there were a lot of people that, as far as I know, just stayed in Florida. I'm pretty sure, because when you have that many years there, and when you have a foundation and you have friends and family and stuff like that, to get up and go to a place where you don't really know anybody or anything like that, it's hard and it's scary, man, and you gotta really be mentally and physically ready for that sort of circumstance. When I left Montana, it was crazy. Big shout out to my close friend and frequent collaborator Joshua Dowdy. When I was getting ready to leave at the end of 2019 and move away from Montana, I had put my Jeep on a trailer and driven a U-Haul from Montana to California when I moved. But when we were loading my fucking Jeep on the trailer, man, literally blizzard hit. Snow is pummeling us, and it's literally just me and Josh trying to get my fucking Jeep up on the trailer. And me and him were joking, because it was kind of like a 2-hour ordeal of us trying to get the Jeep on the trailer and then strap it down secure enough for me to drive a freaking 1,000 miles and everything like that. And I was like, Montana's trying to hold me, man.
Right.
It wants me to stay. It doesn't want me to leave.
I'll be saying the same shit.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, we were just kind of joking around about that and stuff, but it's tough, man, because like, I don't know, sometimes I think a lot about like what had my life have been had I stayed in Florida in 2013 and not moved away to Montana. And I guess it just comes back to me feeling like my time there was done, and I didn't really have anything else. Like, yeah, I you know, my mom and my friends and family who I went to school with and stuff like that, you know, they all would have been there, and I could have, you know, bought a house and, you know, whatever, gotten involved in real estate maybe, or you know, what would have been. But again, you know, everything happens the way that it's supposed to, and realizing that is that it's a tough thing. Sometimes, like, you know, kind of just touching on that phrase of like, why me? Like, somebody might have something bad that might happen to them, but that shit is character building, bro. When you can go through a difficult, tough, hard circumstance and come out looking back on it, it's like, yo, like, that wasn't even like, yeah, it happened, or yeah, like, life could have been better if it hadn't have happened. But when you can get through stuff like that and like think to yourself of what to do or act accordingly, it builds you, and it makes you into a better person. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta fully think stuff through and go with your gut on what you think your best bet is, man.
Yep. Yeah, I was just watching a video last night, actually. Pretty much, it's kind of about that, like how our brains are hardwired for negativity bias, you know, and like back in the day when we're surviving in like caves and shit, it was important, but these days, like, it's not really so, you know, so important to survive, you know, and our brains are just hardwired to look out for problems and think everything is worse than it is when it's really not, you know.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, if you think about the cavemen who were laying fires, living amongst rocks, and running out and going to freaking get their dinner for the night or whatever. Yeah, it's the brains look for what's wrong. Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially something like that, like moving to a new place, you know, like just the uncertainty of not knowing what it's going to be like, or, you know, is it going to work out and all that. Um, for the most part, like as long as you just go there, like I was saying earlier, it's just another place, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Like
exactly,
how bad could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you're saying your father was a musician and an artist too. I remember seeing some of the pictures he drew on your wall and stuff.
Yeah.
How would you say that growing up with him, seeing his art and hearing his music and stuff, how did that influence you creatively?
Yeah, so I think that with influence and just kind of life overall, I think that a lot of it taught me to be able to see the good in life and not just focus on the negative aspects of things. I mean, some of the artwork that he has from the 70s and stuff is just really dope, man. I just really enjoy it a lot, and I think that you know it really helped to show me that, like, if you record a song, even if you put it out and for years and years and years, it might just be there, like, people might listen to it and stuff like that. But even if, like, a decade, 15 years down the line or something, if somebody like gets a positive, good feeling, or that song helps them get through stuff, that it I'll feel as though my job is done. You know what I mean? Because if like, I don't know, the arts are just such a beautiful thing, man, and they're such a dope. I just think they're such a dope light, and him being able to take me. I mean, for one, like, Montana, I wouldn't, if it wasn't for my dad taking me to Montana when I was younger, I absolutely wouldn't have ever moved there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was only because of those memories that I had, and one of my close homies who I had from high school were the main reasons that I picked to go to Montana as opposed to anywhere else. And it's such a beautiful place, man. There's so much fresh air and beautiful scenery and dope things that you can get into. I mean, even back in 2018, one of my biggest best life moments that I had was being able to go to Missoula and shoot a Tech 9 show. Like that moment when I was there in the photographer's pit holding my freaking Sony in my hand, like, I had one of the greatest, most euphoric moments of my life. So with my dad, being able to go around to these different places, man, like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, he even took me out to the Virgin Islands. Like, him being there for me and taking me out to these different places showed me, how much I love traveling and how eye-opening of an experience it can be to be able to go to these different places. Like, somebody might grow up, like, I don't want to use the word shelter, but they might literally spend the first 15, 20 years of their life only being in one city or state. Whereas if you go to a place completely different, for me as an individual, like, that shit is so eye-opening to see different places, like places like this actually exist on the planet, and being able to see that there's so many different walks of life and different words that we can use in different experiences to be had. Like, it's a beautiful thing, man. I think I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but I hope that
you're good.
answers your question.
Yeah, that's the whole point, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important. Just gives you perspective, you come back home and you just kind of have a different way of looking at your hometown, or just, I think it's important for sure.
Yeah.
So, kind of change the subject. What are some not so obvious differences between making films and making music videos? Because I know you did that perfectly timed short film.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so when you're doing a film as opposed to a music video, you're definitely going to say quiet on the set a lot more, because when you're doing narrative work like a short film or a movie, it usually requires tracking audio. So with that, like with a music video, man, you can just hit record, and the audio that you're using, primarily most of the time is audio that's already been or being mixed and mastered and is already done. So the audio aspect of it, and having a boom operator and making sure there's no people. I was up in Montana shooting the Gospel of a Nightingale. Shout out again to my homie Josh. We were shooting that, and then it was a music video, but we also had like narrative elements too, where we had mic'd audio for some scenes, and there we had like a live performance band scene where we had like a drum set and me on guitar and everything like that. And during one of the scenes, I had to we were running like super short on time, and I had to one of the guys was playing the drums. I'm like, yo, please just give us a couple minutes. We're tracking audio and stuff here. So yeah, tracking audio is one of the other things. And then I would probably say that with directing, I think that I'm not sure if it's like this for other directors, but for me individually, I really enjoy seeing what kind of performance the actors can bring. Whereas with a music video, because I have more experience with it, I have kind of a more clear, this is more exactly what I want the rapper or artist to do. Mm-hmm. Whereas with like a short film and doing like narrative work and stuff like that, I really kind of like to see what the actor can bring to the table. You'd be surprised, man. A lot of the just great movies and short films that have been released over time, some of the best stuff is just simply not written in the script, man, where you might do one take, you might do one or two takes or whatever, and then you'll consult with the actor. All right, that was dope, but let's try or whatever. And then they'll do or say something else that's just the best shit that you've got in the whole project or something like that. So yeah, I'd say that those are like the two main things is the seeing what the actor can bring to the table as far as narrative dialogue, spoken word and stuff like that, and then saying quiet on the set more.
Right.
For audio recording purposes.
Yeah, a lot of people talk shit on like Rick and Morty, but some of my favorite I don't know if you've seen it, but some of my favorite shit in there is when you can tell they're just going off the cuff, and that shit is hilarious.
Yeah. I think it was, oh gosh, what was it? I think there was a whole 3-minute scene. I think it might have been 40-Year-Old Virgin, but I know it was a scene with Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen where they were sitting in the chair playing video games, and it was you know why I know you're gay, and I guess apparently what I'm told is that the whole scene was completely improv. It wasn't written in the script at all. And then I know that with the new Venom movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage, there's a whole rave scene where Venom goes to a rave, and I guess the script for that, it wasn't really written. So Andy Serkis, who was the director of the new Venom Let There Be Carnage movie, it was pretty loose, where they just kind of got to improvise it. And honestly, that's kind of what's fun about it. You got to remember to have an open mind too, because I feel like a lot of the time, sometimes directors or whoever might just get set, on a distinct idea, and you can have moments like that where oh, for this scene, this is exactly what I wanted to say. But other times, some of the, again, best stuff can be completely improv and just what's created there on the spot. So
yeah, it's funny that you mention Seth Rogen, because I was watching this video. I don't know if you're familiar with the Corridor Crew on YouTube. They do a lot.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
They just do a lot of like CGI video type stuff, where they're talking about CGI and whatever. They got a whole channel about it. But they do this one thing where they critique CGI in movies, and they had Seth Rogen on the other day, and he was talking about Quentin Tarantino, where like he really doesn't allow any improv. It's like people try to go off the cuff, and he's like, just read what's on the page. I don't know how true that is, but
yeah.
So you mentioned Joshua Dowdy, who you worked on Perfectly Timed with, and what was the other one?
Well, the other one I mentioned was A Gospel of a Nightingale, but we've had a number of different projects, from kind of short films to music videos and all sorts of different stuff that we've worked on.
So how did you guys meet?
This is actually a pretty crazy story. So back in 2018, I was living in an apartment downtown Great Falls, and then I forget why I wanted to move. I don't know why I wanted to move, but for some reason, I guess I just felt like I wanted to get out of the place that I had. And so I ended up, by a series of really fortunate events, getting the hookup on this really, really dope house in Riverview in Great Falls. Really nice, big 3,200 square foot, 2-story house with a garage and a deck up on the hill with a great view of the whole city and stuff. And so when I had moved in there, I got an insane, my rent was so freaking cheap. I freaking joke with people because when I left that house in 2019 and went and moved to LA, the rent increase was just insane. Like it was astronomical. But anyway, we were living in that house, and then when I moved in there, even though I could have afforded to live on my own, like without any roommates, I was like, it'd be dope to do that. That, and the landlord kind of jokingly or whatever was like, yeah, get some other people. I mean, it was a 4-bedroom, 2-story house, so it would have been, kind of, I don't know, strange maybe or whatever for me to just live there by myself. I mean, I guess I totally could have, but anyway, one of my roommates, Amanda, shout out to Amanda, she was working at one of the bars in Great Falls. And so back in 2018, when her and I had met, we had both showed interest in like short films and like films and music videos and stuff like that. She was kind of doing like sort of a modeling thing or whatever at the time. And we had started working on writing a short film together. And so when her and we had been friends for maybe like 6 months to a year. And then we had like just started to like work on a short film together, and our relationship had, started to get better. We were just hanging out, joking a lot, just talking about films, like writing stuff and stuff like that. And then one night when she was at work, she had just met Josh, and I guess their conversation, I think, had somehow gotten on the aspect of film and writing and music and stuff like that. And so she had just came home from work one night and was like, yo, I met this screenwriter. And I was like, perfect, because at the time, like I like to focus mainly on like the directing and cinematography aspect of film, like, directing to be able to get the best performance out of like the artist or actor or whoever it is, and the cinematography as far as like the camera lenses, angles, and things like that. And at the time, I was trying to build a team, and I was like, I need a writer. And then here comes Amanda. Hey, I met a writer. And so I was like, all right, dope. I was like, invite him over. And so, man, she had invited Josh over, and fucking 4-hour talk conversation later, me and Josh are homies. It was crazy because I think that was at the end of 2018, if I remember correctly. He was getting ready, because he's in the military, and he was actually getting ready to go deploy to Cuba. And And I was like, man, I mainly do music videos. I was like, but I really want to start getting into short film and narrative work and stuff like that. We were even talking about me maybe coming to Cuba to even do a little short film. Because, I mean, there's all kinds of different short films. Like, there's people out there with, like, 2-3 minute short films and stuff like that, and like it ain't shit to just have one 12 to 14 hour shoot day or whatever and literally film a whole short film in the day. That's pretty much what Josh and I had did with Perfectly Timed. We had a couple little pickup days where I filmed a couple little extra scenes from when we did Perfectly Timed or whatever, but basically when me and Josh had met, I don't know, man, we just clicked. And it was crazy, too, because I later found out after him and I had known each other for probably like a year or more that his birthday is on January 9th. And my all-time favorite guitarist of all time is Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, and they share the same fucking birthday. Uh-huh. And when I had found that out about Josh, I was like, oh shit, man, no wonder we're getting along so good. We got the same fucking birthday as my favorite guitarist of all time. And so, yeah, man, just a lot of like crazy coincidences and just different stuff with me and Josh and kind of our relationship and stuff like that. But yeah, me and Josh had met through Amanda, my old roommate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty big on coincidences and shit like that, you know, synchronicities and all that.
Oh, dude, I'm so huge on it.
it. Do you know what a cleat-on is?
Not familiar.
So this, I mean, it probably happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. Like, I'll be reading something and, like, say I'm listening to a podcast or have YouTube on, and then as I'm reading the word, they say the word.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
yep.
I don't know why I know.
Really happened to me.
It happens so much. Yeah, I like to look at whether it's, like, mean something or something. Yeah, like, since I decided to move to Colorado, I've been seeing a lot of things about Colorado Springs specifically, which, you know, I don't know. Sometimes like you get a red car and then all of a sudden you start seeing red cars, but some shit is like way too weird, you know. So wanted to talk a little more about Revolving Productions. When did you start that?
You asked when I started Revolving Productions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around like 2016.
Okay. Give me one sec. My fucking monitor fell over.
Oh, man. I hope it's all right.
Yeah, it's good. Precarious situation. So how would you say it's grown since you started it?
Yeah, so I'd probably say that the individuals and people that I've gotten to work with are definitely the big part of it. That, and I don't know, man, like last year, even though 2020 was kind of the year of COVID, Revolving Productions did pretty good as far as like financials and like how much money I made. I mean, last year I got to go to Michigan for the first time. I got to go to Ohio for the first time. This year I got to go to the Virgin Islands, to St. Thomas. So I'd probably say, like, you know, the financial aspect of it from the amount of money I've made has definitely grown over the years. The different individuals that I've worked with have grown, and just kind of the span of everything. I mean, gosh, what was it? I think in 2017, I only had like 50,000 collective views on the Revolving Productions YouTube channel, and now I'm up to like almost 200,000. So just kind of like overall, you know, in a number of different ways from the ones that I just mentioned, those are the ways that it's grown. That and I think my skills as a director and cinematographer and editor have definitely increased. I've definitely learned a lot more stuff as far as, you know, kind of the technical aspects of filmmaking with angles and editing and, you know, things along those lines.
Yep. What what have you learned since? Because you said you're no longer working a day job. What have you learned about just like running your own business, basically, and just doing things for yourself?
So one of the really, really big things is that I like to be able to turn around work really, really, really fast. That's one of the main things is I pride myself on being able to return an edit within less than a couple days to people. Mm-hmm. So doing that and being able to do that is one. Another one is set the bar low and then exceed expectations. So kind of touching on what I just said about, doing fast turnarounds and stuff like that. I'll tell someone, oh yeah, I'll have it to you within a week, and then I'll send it back to them in a couple of days. So then in their head, it might be like, oh yeah, he said within a week, but oh shit, he sent it within a couple of days. So that's for another thing. And then the other big thing is to not overwhelm and not ask too much of people. They're like, if I'm talking with a big director or big artist, like, yo, like I'm not sending them 100 messages. I'm not asking them all these questions. I'm just being direct and to the point, and I'm not trying to do all this different stuff. I mean, there's been so many times where I'll hire like a camera operator or somebody to help with a project that I might be directing. And sometimes, man, they'll just have all these different questions. And not that it's bad to ask questions, but it's like, yo, as creatives and as entrepreneurs and as business people and people that are in the industry, it's like, yo, like, it would help if you didn't ask that much. So those are definitely some of the main things that have helped me exponentially, because like it can be stressful, man. Like if you're texting somebody and they got this whole big ass list of all these things that they're talking about, like, yo, like people don't have the time to take an hour or whatever out of their day to discuss those things sometimes. So yeah, I'd say that those are the three main ones. I could probably think of more if you want me to or whatever, but those are definitely
it's you can talk as much as you want, man. That's the whole point.
Okay, for sure.
I mean, I think this is super cool. I appreciate you taking your time to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, so I've just been in kind of a good space too. So
for sure, yeah. I seen the one you did with Josh the other day. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. That was fun, man. Yeah, shout out to Josh again and NPR Radio 89.9 in Great Falls, man.
Right. Hell yeah. Yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, like pretty much just like the impression, like you can make choices with the impression that you put on people, like you're talking about with the messages and with the kind of under promise and over deliver.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'm big on that too. Like I really don't understand some people that just like, I guess it's a self-awareness thing, they just don't really see how they come across, but like especially with creatives, like they're kind of sensitive people. So like I think it's super important to just recognize the impression that you're leaving on people, and that could be the deciding factor on whether you continue to work with them or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. Yeah, another thing too, touching back on your previous mention, is being professional and being on time and stuff. I think that definitely helps a lot. And I mean, I get it. Like, we're in LA. Like, traffic is crazy and it can be tough sometimes. But like sometimes, man, people might think it's like cute or funny to be like, oh, da or whatever, and like say certain comments. Whereas like with me, I don't know, man. I tend to keep my mouth shut if I'm ever like, should I say? Nah, probably not.
For sure, yeah. I'm the same way, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of. I don't know. Yeah. I had something I was gonna say, but
Train
um,
of thought.
so yeah, because I thought that was super cool, man. Like I've never really seen like a video shoot like the one you did with Jake, and I was actually like
Which one? Which one?
the Lost in a Wasteland one.
Oh, like, can you elaborate? Like, what do you mean haven't seen?
Well, I just never seen anything that was like. I mean, I haven't done a lot of video shoots, anyways. But I
Hmm.
was just surprised on like how put together it was, and just like seeing you direct, I thought was super cool.
Oh
And
man, appreciate it, bro. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. What do you besides like music and stuff and like other music videos? Who's some of your inspiration like visually?
Oh, like from a film standpoint.
Yeah, and just like directing and filmmaking. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I got a number of them. Quentin Tarantino is definitely one of my favorite directors for sure. I actually got to meet him back in 2019, and you know what was sick? This is a good story. I was at the Academy Awards, and then I look over. We were just getting ready to leave. We were at the exit point, and one of my homies who I was there with, Artie, was there talking to him. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me! He's standing there talking to Quentin Tarantino, and that was the night that Brad Pitt had won Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So Quentin was in a good mood. He was smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
We got to share a few words. When I walked up to him, I was like, Quentin, I was like, last year my roommates told me they never saw Pulp Fiction. I was like, all right, sit the fuck down right now when we are watching it. And he laughed. So the fact that I got Quentin Tarantino to laugh a joke about my roommates not seeing one of his greatest movies of all time, classic, was really dope to me. So yeah, so he's a big inspiration. Cole Bennett is definitely a huge inspiration. Lyrical Lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Owens. Jacob Owens was actually one of the first reasons that I got involved in film, because back in like 2013, I think, or maybe a little bit after that, like 2014 or 15 was when he really started to like pop up on my radar for, you know, I was kind of fans of like Futuristic and a couple other rappers that were popping off around, I think in like Arizona, I'm pretty sure, and stuff like that. And they somehow, I think it was through Dizzy Wright, because Dizzy Wright was back in like 2000, like 11 or 12 was when I first started. Anyway, I somehow found out about Jacob Owens. He's just a really dope like music video director, but also like creative and entrepreneur. I've been a brand ambassador for some of his various companies, from Tropic Color to his Learn Cinematography, like online film schools and stuff like that over the years and stuff. And I've also participated in some of his like short film contests that like Josh has written some of them and stuff like that. So yeah, Jacob Owens, Cole Bennett, Quentin Tarantino. Let's see, Matt Alonzo's another really dope one. Colin Tilley. Oh man, the list could go on. But yeah, those are a couple of the main ones, to name a few for sure.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I think we're running about an hour here, so
Oh, for real? I was trying to press on my screen to see how long it was, but it didn't pop up, so I wasn't sure.
my Fruity Loops is showing me the time right here. So yeah, I think that's cool, man. I'm gonna transcribe this. Probably not the whole thing, like word for word. So I'll send you like the transcription just to make sure you're cool with it.
Okay.
And then just do like a small little kind of blurb before it, and put that on the website. Do you have a picture that you'd want to go with it?
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, if you want, I can send like multiple, since you know an hour is kind of long. I can send whatever, man, like 10 photos or something or whatever.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, this shit was fun, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So just shoot me a message with those pictures, and I'll actually, what's your email so I could email you the...
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that email might hold the picture quality a little
Oh,
bit better.
definitely,
So
for sure.
Yeah, I'll email them. It's REVPRODD, REV, and then PRODD with 2 Ds.
Okay.
REVPRODD @gmail.com.
Okay.
My dude, appreciate you, bro.
Hell yeah, appreciate you. Shit was cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
All right, brother. I'll be talking to you
Peace.
soon.
Yep, much love. Peace.
All right, later.